Okay, welcome everyone. We have already established a quorum and we are in open session, so we're going to begin our meeting. At this point, I need a motion for approval of the agenda, please.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Can I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda items?
Second.
All in favor? Communications, Cole.
Tonight, there are no Board of Education correspondence.
Hey, John.
Yeah, there was no request for comments submitted.
Okay. Next up, we have our academic focus for Odessa Middle School.
Alright, you guys ready for it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Mr. Hotmer, Mr. Wiggins, and myself are excited to be here this evening to do a presentation for you guys. We have 5 of our outstanding 7th grade students. So we have, just kind of raise your hand, we have Gabby Williams, Layla Parsons, Evan Wary, Meredith Birch, and Miss Trinity Halford with us this evening. So they came to Mr. Hotmer and I to do a proposal for 7th grade, also along with one of our teachers that could benefit from this proposal. So we are super impressed with them. They came up with the proposal all on their own. What we really liked about one thing in their proposal was they came to us with some concerns already. So they knew within their proposal there might be some concerns, and we really liked how they came to us with some possible solutions already. So they were already thinking, we have a concern, what are some of those possible solutions could we have within that proposal? So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Wiggins, and then the kiddos are going to do their proposal for you guys.
Thank you for having us here, guys. I'm Mr. Wiggins. I'm the 7th grade social studies teacher at the middle school. So this is my 2nd year in the district, and one of the things I wanted to do this year, one of the ideas I teach throughout the school year is government, and I thought it'd be a good idea if we could simulate what that would be like to have a democracy. So we got together and we decided we would elect 5 kids per class that I teach. So I teach 6 classes, that'd be 30 kids. And we outlined what it would be to be a class leader. So that would be a positive example to all of your students. You would be ready to facilitate discussions. Sometimes you would be ready to help out in class, whatever that might be. And most importantly, we talked about that would be listening to kids when they have positive things to say and negative things to say, or whatever that is. Ideas on how to make things better. And so we did our elections. Things went really well. They loved it. And then we thought, okay, we need 5 kids that we would call supreme leaders, and they would be the ones that if we ever had an idea, that we would take to Mr. Hopper and Miss Melizzi. And so these are the kids that were elected, and they immediately were hearing from our classmates that they were interested in this class store concept. How could we work that? And so I said, guys, I love that idea. Here's my concerns. Why don't we sit down, we'll use artificial intelligence, and we kind of talked about, okay, what are the problems here? What are the hurdles we need to jump over? And let's have some game plan mapped out already. And so we kind of made a proposal together, and then I said, okay, now this is you guys. So they took their idea to Ms. Melizzi and Mr. Hotmer and made their proposal, and here we are. So they're going to take it the rest of the day.
Hello, we are the upper leadership team of the 7th grade social studies class leaders. We are elected by 30 class leaders to represent our classmates. Together, we have worked with Mr. Wiggins to create a proposal for a cool idea that we think could both help our students and the Grubb family.
We already presented our proposal to Ms. Melizzi, and we are excited to present an idea that we believe will not only enhance our school community, but also make a positive impact for the Grubb family. We call it Grubs for Grubb. Grubs for Grubb is a unique class store designed to provide students with a convenient source of snacks during Mr. Wiggins' class, while also generating proceeds that will be donated to support our teacher, Mrs. Grubb. It's a win-win situation that fosters community engagement and empathy among our student body.
This idea reflects our commitment to giving back and supporting the educators who dedicate their lives to shaping ours. We look forward to outlining the details of our proposal and sharing how Grubs for Grubb can not only enrich the school experience, but demonstrate our gratitude for the valuable contributions of our teachers.
We
kindly request the opportunity to discuss this proposal further and give your support in making Grubs for Grub a reality. Together we can create a more vibrant, caring, and supportive school environment.
We have compiled a list of potential concerns that could come up, and we thought through a list of solutions. One of the concerns could be a distraction. One of our solutions could be a designated time to purchase. Give specific breaks times during each class when students can access the snack bar. During these times, students can take and get their snacks in.
Funding. We know this is one of our biggest concerns, and we thought through many potential solutions. Student contributions. You can ask students to make small contributions and maintain the snack store. Parent or guardian contributions. Seek financial support from parents or guardians. They can provide or contribute snacks. School budget. What do you say, Mrs. Melizzi? Do we have the funds for a simple snack store?
Managing the money payments. Mr. Wiggins will collect all payments from students. He will keep track of all payments made on a Google sheet that tracks who paid, how paid, and how much.
Pricing for snacks. Pricing will depend on what we buy to place in the snack stand. We will charge enough to make a profit off the snacks.
School policy. We are unclear on what the school policy is regarding our snack store. We want to run this idea by you to make sure we are complying with school policies.
Student allergies. We will display what the ingredients are for each snack. That way, if someone has an allergy, they will know to avoid it. We don't have any students with peanut allergies in the 7th grade class. We will make sure to learn the school policy on providing snacks before providing any snacks.
Extra trash. Students will be told that leaving trash behind is unacceptable and will be encouraged to throw away all trash. Class leaders will check after each class in an effort to keep each class period clean.
Equity and opportunity. We understand that not everyone will have extra cash available to them to buy snacks. In an effort to increase participation, we will keep prices at $1 to $2. We will give everyone the same opportunity to buy snacks.
Thank you for hearing our proposal.
You all have any questions for kids?
Yes, if Mr. Wiggins keep track of all the financials, who's gonna keep track of Mr. Wiggins?
Anybody else have anything else?
I think you guys did a good job
Yeah.
looking at every single angle of the
Yeah, I
issues
agree.
and everything.
And you're
Good job.
motivated by a good cause, so that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
Thank you so much for coming and presenting it to us. You guys are not only representing the 7th grade, but you represent Odessa. Thank you. Good job.
Good job.
We had a snack store when I was in school. Did they have it? You could go buy it from Mr. Schrader or whatever.
Guess we can ask one that's opening up.
Are you gonna be able to buy that?
Last thing I need.
Okay. Next up, we have Making a Difference Recognition Award.
Yeah, so this month, the Making a Difference Award goes to middle school paraprofessional Alicia Smith. Ms. Smith works in the class program at the middle school, working with those high need students. She does a great job every day. Was highly recommended from other staff members in the building, and we really appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we have the superintendent's report.
Yeah, the building administrative reports are included in your packet for review. Also want to point out that this is American Education Week, and I'd like to recognize and thank all of the educators that work with our students every single day. They have a passion for helping students. We just saw an example of that with Ms. Smith. They have a passion for our students, the success that they might have, and we thank them for everything that we do. We do have a few that stayed around, so thank you. The other thing is I want to establish the board candidate filing information for the April 4th, 2024 election. The first day of filing is December 5th. We'll start at 8 o'clock. The last day of filing is December 26th. The office will be open from 2 to 5 o'clock on that day. Filing hours are 8 to 4:30 on school days in which we're in session. Location is at the Odessa R-VII Central Office. Requirements include must be a U.S. citizen, at least 24 years of age, a resident taxpayer of the district with no delinquent tax receipts, a resident of Missouri for at least 1 year prior to the election. You cannot be a registered sex offender or required to register as such. And then if elected, you have to complete 18 and a half instructional hours of board member training during that first year. So, that's what we got.
Okay, next up in discussion items, we have high school traction presentation.
Hello everyone, I'm Trinity Alvestead. And I'm Grace Gibson. And we are the seniors of the Odessa Traction Team, also known as Teams Taking Action to Prevent Traffic Crashes. And our group is working to educate students, staff, and our community about ways to stay safe in a car.
You may remember we came to speak to you last fall. Since that time, we attended Distracted Driving Day at the state capitol in April and spoke to Representative Terry Thompson about our support for a hands-free law for Missouri. We were one of only 2 states without such a law.
We are excited to report that the Sit-in Spinning hand-free law went into effect in August. This law bans individuals from using electronic communication devices for a broad range of activities while driving on highways or public roads in Missouri.
We are also glad to share that we've been selected again as the Missouri Traction Team of the Year, our 2nd year in a row to win the top honor in the state.
One of our main projects each year is the AAA Missouri Buckle Up Bone Down Showdown, where we can win $3,500 for our school. It's about more than money though, it is about saving lives.
More than 1,000 people are dying each year in crashes on Missouri roads. Notice that we use the word crashes, not accidents. We use the terms wreck or crash because nearly all of the time someone's choices are to blame for the collision.
Will you make good choices as a passenger in or driver off a car? You can help reduce deaths at all Missouri roads by doing the following.
Passengers can buckle up and speak up when drivers making poor decisions. Drivers can buckle up, put their phones down, slow down, and drive sober.
Take the Buckle Up Bone Down pledge and encourage everyone you know to do the same. Scan the code or visit SaveMoreLives.com and scroll the pledge for your school. Put up a sign in your yard or a place of business. Share the link and QR code via social media. Even if you did it last year, please do it again.
The school currently in the lead already has over 500 pledges. With your pledge and encouraging others to pledge, you are making Missouri roads safer. Thank you so much.
We will, we'll put it up on social media.
Thank you.
Yeah, we did last year.
I'm gonna leave yard signs by the door, and we also have extra, signs that are not attached to a yard
Yeah, please.
post, if you would like to put those up around town as well.
So have you guys already started taking pledges, or has people already started signing up yet, or?
So far, alone, at least in school, we haven't started pushing it quite yet. We're actually going to be doing an activity on Thursday to help spread the word and get students to take the pledge, but so far we haven't pushed it out to students yet.
So you said a school's already got 500?
Yes.
Do you know which school it is?
Windsor.
Windsor? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Last year, where did we finish at? Do you remember?
Second in our class.
Yes.
Second in our class, but it was like barely 600.
Yeah.
Not even.
And we also received the Creativity Award last year as well. But we ended up placing second.
So like in a family, do you have to be a driver to pledge, or do you have to be a certain
It
age?
can be anyone.
So if you
to
have
take the
5
pledge.
members, is it per family or is it per person? So
Per
if you have a-
person.
Oh, it is, okay, so you have
Yeah.
5 family members in each pledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And traction, it's not just about, who's driving the car, it's also about, we also teach passenger safety too. So we also started doing something last year for younger kids in the elementary schools. So that teaches them how to walk in the street safely, ride their bikes, be it passenger, car seat safety, that type of thing.
What do you guys plan to do with the money if you win?
Well, that goes into lots of activities. I know we use it towards, this year we're going to be doing a mock crash, so we can put money towards those activities. Like I said, Thursday we have an activity called the Grim Reaper, so it goes towards activities as well as pushing our information towards other schools, because small schools maybe like Wellington and Lexington, we want to try and push what we are doing in Odessa to other communities as well.
You gotta create more competition for yourself and make it harder.
Yeah.
It's a good problem.
Yeah, thank you guys. We really appreciate what you're doing, and not only is it helping the school, but it's helping the community, so thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Cole's gonna get all them cookies signed up.
It's like 100 bucks just so you guys.
You better get on that, since you don't speaking of
Next up, we have esports activity.
Good evening. My name is Travis Whitman. I'm the assistant band director here at Sherry Bagshaw's here. We are here to discuss the creation of esports as an activity available to all students of Odessa High School. Currently, we have Unified Esports, which operates in parallel to the Special Olympics as an opportunity for Special Olympians to be paired with partners and compete in Mario Kart 8. This proposal works to make esports available to all students of Odessa High School. In the fall of 2002, we did a survey, and in that, we had 43 said that they would participate in both fall and spring seasons. 9 said only the fall season, and 16 said that they would participate in the spring season only. The 4 games that we would offer through esports would be Overwatch 2, League of Legends, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Valorant. And with the current numbers that we're sitting at, we have enough to fill close to 3 teams, if not 4 teams per each title. So in the packet that we have game descriptions if you're curious. And then other schools in our area that currently have esports programs that are within traveling distance that we could play in person. Oak Grove, Wellington, Napoleon, Blue Springs South, Lafayette County C1, Fort Osage, Richmond, Lexington, Smith Cotton, as well as Overwatch currently this semester has 55 schools, all of which are listed, enrolled and competing in a season. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate this season currently has 50, and the other titles I don't have numbers for yet because they don't compete until next season. Facilities, this is still to be determined, but it will be in a lab. Right now we're looking at Mr. Wolf's room, possibly. The machines that would play, the computers that would play these games, would be strong enough and fast enough to handle anything that a teacher would need in a normal workday. So these would replace computers that are already in a lab here and serve the function that the computer that it would replace currently serves during the day, and then would become an esports computer during practice. Budget, startup fees, I'll let you talk about those salaries.
Well, the salary we would have, there's 2 seasons and the same coaches would most likely coach both seasons. So that's why on the cost we say times 2, it's 2,600 times 2 for a head coach, and 1,700 times 2 for the fall. So $5,200 for the head coach and $3,400 for an assistant coach.
Past that, the startup equipment, we were looking at quotes of 10 gaming machines through a company called R-VII at approximately $15,650. The 10 machines would allow us to practice 2 teams simultaneously, so it would allow a varsity team as well as a JV team to practice at the same time, as well as would give us the capability of being one of the first schools in Missouri with the capability of hosting in-person esports matches, as most schools currently are doing everything and competing entirely online. And then also a 2-PC streaming PC, which would allow us to use half of the machine to join the game as a spectator and the other half to stream it to our YouTube channel to allow our student body, families, and any spectators that would like to watch, able to watch from home on our YouTube channel. The organization that hosts and facilitates all the seasons for these games is MOSIF, which is the Missouri Scholastic Esports Federation. They were started a little under 5 years ago by teachers, administrators, and tech directors of schools in Missouri. And their whole mission was to set out to create basically MISHA for esports. Since then, esports has been listed as an emerging activity on MISHA's website. I believe they're in their 4th year, if not this is their 5th, so within next year or the year after, they will be a full-fledged MISHA recognized activity. On MISHA's website, they are linked and partnered with MOSIF as well. And MOSIF has a board of directors and a way for teachers to communicate, as well as see standings, post matches, post scores, and basically operates the same way that activities directors work in schools.
Tons of resources on there for everybody.
So through them, their registration fees are $75 per varsity team and $50 per junior varsity team per title. So all of that together, the first year estimated cost comes up to $27,900. And then on the annual cost side of things, each title can have 1 varsity team and as many junior varsity teams as we would need, depending on interest. So we would have 4 titles with 4 varsity teams at $300, 4 titles with 1 varsity team, junior varsity team each at $200. So each year fees would come up to about $500. And then on the equipment upkeep, each system is going to be modular. So if one component of one of these machines goes down, rather than having to replace the entire machine, we can usually just replace that one part. As well as Bytespeed has a phenomenal 5-year warranty that will replace anything that would need to be replaced within that time period. Travel expectations. With the 10 machines, we would, again, be one of the first schools that could host and have schools come to us to play these matches in person, which is really cool and a really big deal in my opinion. We would have the capability of traveling, but it would be dependent on our opponent's facilities and whether or not they could host. But every year, MOSIF does host a state competition for each of the titles that is usually down in Columbia near Hickman. Some of the values that we would add, it creates environments for students to work on tons of different skills, life skills like teamwork, collaborating, strategic thinking, all the way down to things like stress management, as far as how they can manage stress with video games as an outlet, as well as managing the stress that comes about being in these matches, much like we would help students learn how to manage stress on a basketball court, football field, everything like that. Past high school opportunities that can come from this, there are a list at the bottom. These are just some of the universities like K-State, NU, Lindenwood, Northwest Missouri, Missouri Western, Missouri Valley, University of Central Missouri, and Southern Baptist University are some of the schools that are more local that offer up to full ride scholarships for esports to participate on their esports teams, as well as the esport industry is quickly surpassing the entertainment industry in terms of movies, in terms of highest grossing. So there every day are more and more jobs created in this field, and this is a great way for students to get a foot in the door towards that direction. So, do we have any questions?
I mean, this is really going to reach those students that maybe aren't involved in some of the athletics, which we have a large pool of those students right here in Odessa. And so that's what I like about it, is just we're reaching kids and teaching them all these skills that we list are everything they need in the workplace, every single thing. And so if we can help make them more productive in our community, then I think it's a win.
So some of the computers that we currently have are capable, you're saying, for like practice and other situations?
Currently, no.
potentially?
So the
No.
machines that we currently have are good enough for basic computing as far as spreadsheets and classwork that we do.
I understand.
With the gaming, graphics cards, we need
So
to
they're
be
not good enough
a
for
little
that.
bit. Currently, no.
And how, so like if you buy one of these new computers, like what's the lifespan? Normally like 10 years?
So they're not future proof because
Yeah.
technology is always evolving and moving
makes sense.
forward. It's hard to put an exact number on, but for the games that are currently offered, these will suffice for 7 years, safe,
Yeah.
7-10 years.
Just several, yeah.
And then from there, whenever they do are starting to become obsolete, depending on where the technology is going, we would only need to replace, say, the graphics cards.
Maybe certain
And then-
components in it. Or
Yeah, instead of just the entire machine.
Would you guys have any issues with the firewall that our Wi-Fi has to access these types of?
So Unified Esports has actually given us a good opportunity to practice and poke at that. We haven't had issues once we got things figured out through for Mario Kart, as well as through MOSIF. They have tons of resources, and a lot of the members of MOSIF and their board members are actually tech directors that have set up those systems, worked around those systems, and worked in them. So I don't believe we would have an issue, and if we did, we would have plenty of resources to get help to be able to work through them.
So is there a certain workflow that you guys would have to go through to get access to these that all students wouldn't have access to, or is it readily available?
It would depend on how Mr. Seals would like to set it up. I know that other schools like Wellington Napoleon, the way they have their set up is it's locked behind an administrative sign-on. So their coach goes on and he's the only one that signs into that specific user on each of the machines. So during the day, no, the students would not have access to just jump on and play Overwatch instead of doing their work.
Awesome.
You may have already mentioned it, I missed it, but can you kind of hone in on what's different about it that allows us to host?
So currently, the machines themselves, that having computers that are strong enough, fast enough to play the games, keep other schools from being able to travel. Because if the other school themselves doesn't already have those machines on site, you can't exactly pick up your machine and safely travel with it
Hosted
down
on
the road.
our computers, not hosting an event.
Correct. So we would host. They would travel to Odessa
Oh, okay.
and sit in our lab, but we would have our computer there for them to use, so they wouldn't have to transport their own.
You have to have enough computers in order for everyone to be able to use to host, because if you only have 2 computers, it's kind of hard to host.
Or if we only had 5 computers, that would be enough for our teams of 5 to compete on, but not for the other team of 5 to play against us.
Gotcha. Where are you thinking?
We're looking at a couple different rooms currently. There's a couple labs here. I think Mr. Wolf's room.
Mr. Wolf's, which is right next to the art room, which would really be good because she does a lot of graphic design in the art class, and so then she could come right through that door and utilize those machines during the day that would have amazing programs for her in her art class.
The components on those computers would allow for faster processing, better rendering of artwork done on those computers, so it would greatly benefit the graphics design programs as well.
I guess along those lines, is there any exposure to coding or any of that stuff with this, or is it all strictly gaming?
As far as coding goes, it would be more of, short version is no. It's more directed as a competition and a sport. It operates very closely to the way that brackets are set up for postseason football, for soccer, basketball. So as far as the learning side, as far as coding goes, there aren't too many opportunities. However, in being exposed to those machines and that side of computing, the interest can build, and then there are certain things that they can pick up on while they are playing and working with these machines that can expand their knowledge on computers in general.
But Miss Begna's class where they do all their coding classes, you could definitely, yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see how many of those esports kids would then go in there and wanna create those programs right now, and those machines could be utilized for that as well.
You know, I mean, I like it from the aspect that you spoke to lastly. I think a goal of ours would be to, as a district, have everybody involved in an after-school something.
Some sort of extracurricular.
So I'm ignorant on the career potentials on this, to be honest, but I do like it from that aspect.
The communication skills and just the problem solving and just learning to work together as a team, because they do. That was my question, because I am not a big I don't know a lot about this in the sense that I've never played any of those things, but he just, the way he's explaining them from where I came from, we started this and so I get it. And so all those skills they talk about, it's like, oh, they need that in the workplace, they need that in the workplace, they need this, and so it's just like, okay, I'm on board.
And with the ability to stream these matches to YouTube, the way that we would set it up is currently professional esports events are streamed on platforms like Twitch, YouTube, and other things like that, and they will have casters sit down and call the match much like an NFL game. That is something that I would like to bring here as well, student-led. So that also presents students in the broadcasting side of things to come in and be able to broadcast games. We have students, one of which is in the band, is currently very interested in sports broadcasting, and students like that would get exposure to calling these kinds of games, these competitions, in an environment where they're being broadcasted instead of practicing or pre-recorded events.
I just love the idea that we're offering an opportunity for kids that don't have that opportunity or may not have something that fits their niche. You know, I think as a district we should be, you know, striving to provide opportunity after opportunity for people to plug in and, you know, be able to, like I said, I've got a nephew that he's a gamer and he actually graduated, worked for EA Sports and designed a new Madden football game. And he wouldn't have done it if he wasn't interested in something like this and having the opportunity to be able to get involved in something like this. So I think it's huge to be able to give those kids that opportunity. So.
And on the survey we had students that answered yes, I would participate in both fall and spring. This graphic does not a great job of identifying where that question came from. On the survey they were asked what other activities are you involved in that would keep you from participating. So the overwhelming majority of 43 members that said that they were interested in esports also said that they are not involved with other things that would get in the way. So not involved with other things.
They're not plugging in.
This falls under our extracurricular activities.
Is it typical that districts do both seasons, or is there a lot of districts that just do one?
It would depend on the interest for the games. So the way that MOSIF has things set up is with their titles that they offer, Overwatch 2 and Super Smash Brothers solos, individuals, they compete in the fall. And then in the spring, League of Legends, Super Smash Bros. Crews, which are teams versus individuals, and Valorant are in the spring. So it depends on if they have the interest for it. Schools like Wilmington Napoleon, they run both seasons because they have a second place state ranked Overwatch team, as well as they have enough to fill a team to be very competitive in Valorant as well.
Yeah, it looked like most of the kids were interested in the fall stuff, but that's why I was just curious if schools typically, do they just do one or do they do both? Or?
They usually do both, and once you get those kids involved in the fall, they're hooked.
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat.
I think it'd be awesome if we could host something here. I think that'd be pretty cool to be able to say we're one of the first ones. So.
And you guys need to go watch them, and it's amazing. It's pretty cool. The intensity. Yeah.
I watch my son. He's pretty
Yeah.
Like, I was gonna say some of the anger management may be bigger in this than sports. So. Yeah.
This is a discussion item with the intention to give you guys some time to process this, ask any questions you have. I would intend upon bringing this back as an action item next month to get started in the spring.
Okay, that's my next question. If this goes through, we want to start this spring.
That would be the idea.
Okay.
So the spring semester operates. Let's see. Preseason week 1 would start January 29th. Regular season week 1 would be February 12th. Running all the way up to March 25th being the last week of regular season. And then playoff would begin April 8th and continue until complete. So it's pretty quick turnaround.
So is that enough time to get the equipment we need to have everything set up?
That's gonna be very, very tight, because that's 2 holidays in between this and that, and then hiring, finding an assistant, getting everything here and set up. You never know.
And Playversus on those quotes is they said that they're operating about 2 to 3 weeks out.
So it's gonna be a crunch time when.
Yeah, I'm sure Logan can make it happen.
So is this something for the sake of time?
Every task he gets is that way.
This could be, with a motion and a second, this could be turned into an action item by the board if the board supports it and feels comfortable making that right now.
I'm in support of it, so.
You're supportive of it, John?
Yeah, I am, absolutely.
Financially, the district's in a place where we could
Absolutely.
just
Hey, Kat.
It's gonna be a budget amendment,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, once you get past your startup cost, your annual cost is basically
Way lower.
the,
It's
the coaching staff.
coaches and the 500 for the registration.
Is there infrastructure on a network that we'll have to upgrade?
Probably a little bit, yeah, but achievable for sure.
How many times would we travel somewhere else?
My plan with it is as many times as we are able, so
What
each
kind of
week,
costs are associated with that?
cost of bus travel.
Normal travel costs, but a lot of places aren't set up to travel, so we would be competing a lot of them virtually anyway.
And we would be one of the only sports that if the district was ever put in a position that we didn't have, you know, a way to get there, we would still compete as normal just from our systems.
And then they would all want to go to state, that would be the main,
Yes.
where they would go and compete at.
Logan, would that help you to, if it happens sooner rather than later, to get the network and everything?
Yeah, and give us a lot more breathing room for sure.
Yeah, so let's make it an action item.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move this to the action items.
Just go ahead and
Make the
make the motion to approve it.
To approve.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the esports
I'll
activities.
second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Not all in favor? Okay,
Let's do it.
thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you guys.
Yep.
That's those.
Next up, we have Grow Your Own Grant.
Yeah, just wanted to make the board aware that DESE has provided each district with $10,000 to support a Grow Your Own program in an effort to support the district helping classified staff members work towards certification to be teachers. We currently have a few staff members that are classified that are working towards being certified teachers to complete their degree. These funds would go to support the staff members and others that want to pursue that certification. We've got an application that we will send out to those classified staff members after I wanted the board to see this first. I think the reimbursement that we set up was $50 per credit hour for those staff members that are taking classes, and that would last as long as the funds are in place. We would start with the spring semester of in January. You know, they'll make application, and then we'll have an idea of, you know, what expenditure we're looking at, but it's all through the grant funding at this point anyway.
How much are credit hours now?
Depends on where you're going, you know, if you're,
It's expensive.
it just kind of depends, you know, if you're in a 4-year place or a 2-year place can make a difference too. I don't know the exact figures, but I'm gonna say
Yeah, JUCO's 70,
70 to 100, probably,
Yeah.
depends on where the JUCO is too.
I'm paying UCM 290 right now.
Okay,
Up to 300 there, so it won't offset 100%, but it'll help with the cost for sure.
How long do we get to use these funds? So like if we don't have a lot of applicants, is it something that stays around for like the next 5 years?
We've got the availability to use the funds until they're gone.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Next up, we have our graduation site.
Yeah, I've asked the counselors to be here. We talked about this in August, about moving the graduation back to Central Missouri. Just a quick history, we moved it to campus in 2020, when we had the restrictions due to COVID. And it's been a good venue, with the exception of the possibility of bad weather, which we didn't experience until this past year, where we did have to push graduation back to Friday instead of on Thursday because of weather. You know, the advantage to UCM, the availability of not having to push graduation back because of weather, that type of thing. The venue is large enough that it holds everybody that that we would take. I did ask them to check the May 9th, which is our graduation, is available if we wanted to make that move and move them back for the 2024 graduation. We don't have what that exact cost would be, but we do know looking back in 2019, the cost was $3,800 for the venue, and then $500 for the streaming setup so people could view it live online too. So, ladies, am I missing anything?
No, they said, they would know closer to the 20th. They have a new athletic director over there, so they're kind of shoring up what their new facility costs are, so it'd be after the 20th before we would know.
My biggest things, we had talked about maybe offering bus services, busing the seniors. I would like to see that if we moved back there, just not necessarily everybody needs that, but I just don't like the idea of kids driving themselves there. Maybe with the ability, if their parents want to check them out, just like a sporting event, they can ride home with their parents, but I just think that, that's the only thing that worries me.
That's very easy. I say that, I'll let Dr. Fagan speak to that. But
it's easy for Roger to figure out.
That number that you used from previous years included setup and.
Includes everything, and you walk in and it's all, you take your diploma covers and your kids and.
It's already red and black.
Yeah, you decorated it for us.
On my part, I've been through a lot of graduations down there. I love the ones that we have here. But I also know there is so much work and stress involved in this. And we don't have half the worries with the weather, no matter where it's raining or 110 out or what's going on. I've really thought about it, and in my personal opinion, I think we're better off going back to Warrensburg. Every year it's a toss up, and unfortunately we've never got there. But if it come to the time to where we had to go inside, I don't know how we pick and choose who's not going to get to come at our facilities, because it wouldn't hold those people. I'm just one person here, but
I like the idea of not having to reschedule it, and people that have made, relatives, family members that have made time to come and watch their kid, like it gets canceled last minute and then they can't make the next day or whatever.
Which did happen last year.
So I like the idea of them not missing out. If that means that we have to do it at, UCM, then, hey, I'll work for that.
I agree. I think it's a special thing that Odessa does. A lot of schools don't. And it works. It is really special, but there's a lot of people when it does go bad. It's something they have to miss. It's a once in a lifetime thing. Kind of outweighs it. And it makes it easier for you guys.
I'm assuming you guys are in support of UCM, right?
It's worth it.
How many years was it from when we moved it from the high school to UCM? How long
I
did we-
think 99 was, either 99 was maybe the last year they had it here, or 99 was the first year there. I went back through yearbooks to try to figure out, and 99 was the year, but I can't remember if it was last year or first there.
Did you
I
graduate?
I graduated in 2001 and we did it at CMS. Well,
I was
UCMS at the
98
time.
and we were here now.
Yeah.
Now, Project Grad, where have they been going with Project Grad? What are you talking about?
Power play.
Yeah, it's up.
And that was a huge issue last year because they have to schedule their date and they can't, there is no backup date with that because that's a lot of money and those businesses are not gonna reserve 2 or 3 days for you. So they still have to have it on that Thursday night whether we have graduation or not. So that was another benefit to having it confirmed in this location it was set plans for what the kids were going to do, and so they went to power play all night long, and then went home at 8 a.m. and maybe slept, and then came to
So it's a bit
graduation.
more of a drive than from Warrensburg back up
Mhm.
to Northland.
Yeah,
And it
but
could
we
change.
need buses for that.
I mean, they've had an
Yeah.
event too.
Yeah,
Project Red, and
yeah, Project Red picks the location. I do believe this year they went on ahead and pre-booked with power play at the same place, so
It's a
it's a
pretty
good
good place
event.
to train on it.
You ever turn two discussion items into action items?
It doesn't need to be an action item, just with direction, we'll move forward with that. I'm sure there will be an agreement that that will be included in the future. Once we get the price, that'll be included in both packets.
We went ahead and put our name in a hat for that date.
Yeah.
Museum. Okay.
They've held it for us, and they were overjoyed to be working with us if possible.
So,
Not enough that they'll give us a discount.
I'll try.
They see this, read about it in the paper, just an opportunity for the public to weigh in. I think we've got it locked in and we don't risk losing
Yeah.
it.
I will say one of the things that we got several comments on, in addition to just the moving the dates, and we had family that couldn't come, was we have amazing sports fans in Odessa, and so when we get out into the football stadium, we kind of turned into more of a sports fan versus the formal at UCM. Whereas if I have an S graduating, the chatter started, and we had a lot of feedback on I couldn't hear my kid's name because so many people were talking, and we got several people that came back and said that was disappointing for them because of you're in the stadium, so it's just a different feel versus UCM, which is a quieter venue inside.
And the truck burnout and all that. I can
Yeah,
remember.
that happened too. Yeah.
I was hoping for fireworks, but we
Yeah.
couldn't make that work.
Ashley, how long will they let you hold this?
I didn't ask that, but the other piece that comes to it with needing to have some direction, whether it's this year, next year, or whatever, Jostens has already gathered our information for announcement printing, so, we've turned in like their class motto and all that stuff, and, they're very particular on their like timelines of when they need to have stuff, so it would be something that we couldn't wait until, February or March or something to do it. So that's the only other piece to think of, but I didn't ask, I can ask
We can do
them
it
when
next,
we need to know.
next month.
Well, we should have a contract for the December board meeting at that point, that could be included in the consent agenda, which you'll see before, and if we need to pull it out, we could do that. If there's some more negative feedback, then we don't wanna do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Next up, we have our curriculum handbook, second reading.
Yeah, this handbook was presented for a first reading last month at the October board meeting, and, it outlines the process and procedure that the district curriculum is developed, evaluated, purchased, and implemented. There are no change from what it was presented last month.
Do we have any questions? At this point, I need a motion to approve the curriculum handbook as presented, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Next up, we have our food service program policy, F285P.
Yeah, this policy change is modifying the non-discrimination statement required by the USDA. The old statement has a strike through it, and the new statement is underlined, both in red.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for John over this? If not, could I have a motion to approve board policy F285P food service program, please?
Someone?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, next we have our 24 budget revision.
Sandra.
Hi.
Yeah.
No.
Good evening, members of the board. Tonight we want to present to you the FY24 budget revision for the Odessa School District. The next few slides will highlight the revised estimated revenues and expenditures, a detailed breakdown of the current debt service payments, and a historical picture of the last 10 years of the district assessed valuation. The budget narrative will also contain this information as well as more details per section. We estimate that our FY24 revised revenues will be $27,915,279. This amount includes all 4 funds. The increase includes the official enhancement grant award, the approved high needs allocation, and the adjustment to state revenues. The increase in our revenues is also based on an increase on our assessed valuation since our initial budget proposal and approval in June. And I'll go into more detail about that on a later slide. We estimate that our FY24 revised expenditures to be $32,646,945. This amount includes all 4 funds as well. The increase includes additional district portion of the enhancement grant, special services, contract services, and a school safety grant. The total FY24 expenditures will also include the remaining bond expenses, which are at approximately $3.6 million. Our revised operating revenues is estimated at $24,765,555. Our revised operating expenditures is an estimated $24,743,555. Operating contains Fund 1 and Fund 2. Fund 1 is our daily expenses and classified staff and salaries and their associated benefits. And Fund 2 is our certified staff salaries and their associated benefits. The operating expenditures for FY24 are below our FY24 revenues, allowing us to remain fiscally sound. The current and future debt service payments are shown in this table. Each yearly payment includes both interest and principal payments. Our current active bonds are the Series 2020, Series 2021, and our newest bond of the Series 2022. Series 2020 is the refunding of Series 2012. Series 21 is the refunding of 2017 bond, and the Series 2022 is the Care for Kids bond, which includes the projects such as the roof replacement, the bus lane, tennis courts, and the security upgrades. This is a historical picture of the last 10 years of our district assessed valuation. As you can see, we are seeing an increase of almost $7.9 million in assessed valuation between this year and last year. We have updated the revenues based on the actual FY24 assessed valuation. And the line item detail of the district's revenues and expenditures is included at the end of the budget narrative for your review, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Basically, we're looking pretty good.
Trying.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Andrews at this time? I see none. Do you have anything, Cole?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
My only comment would be, nice to see the expenditures below the revenue.
At this time, I need a motion to adopt the FY24 budget revision.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. At this point, I need a motion to conduct a closed executive session, including any record or vote at the next scheduled meeting pursuant to statutes contained in chapter 610.021 RSMO, please. Motion?
So, second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And aye, and I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?